In this chapter, what I'm going to do is walk you through how to set up a cichlid aquarium. Now, the first thing you want to do is select yourself an aquarium as big as possible. Now, so many times people will buy an aquarium from the store and it either wasn't quite what they were after, or it doesn't look quite as big once it settles into the home. So make sure you buy the tank as big as possible. Also, try to have your filtration as big as possible, because in general, larger filters are more versatile and they can handle a larger bio load, which is the amount of stock in the aquarium. Now, when buying the aquarium, try and make the aquarium as long and as wide as possible to increase the surface area of the water. Try not to purchase tall, thin aquariums with small surface area, because the amount of surface area the aquarium will have directly relates to the amount of fish you can have in the aquarium. So large filters and large aquariums generally reach a lot less regret. Though the standard models of aquarium sizes and colours tend to be cheaper, don't forget that an aquarium is a long-term investment. So don't be afraid to get a custom aquarium. Though they're a little bit more expensive, it's really important to get something that suits your home style and purpose. Now watch as I show you step by step how to set up varying different types of cichlid aquariums, utilizing different types of filtration and different size tanks. I'm going to start with this custom 5-foot African cichlid tank, which is going to be run with a Majestic filter. Make sure you put a lot of thought into the positioning of your aquarium. You want to try and keep it away from any major thoroughfares, like hallways are not the best idea, away from slamming doors, and definitely direct sunlight. Try to keep the aquarium away from direct sunlight, because that's going to encourage algae problems and possibly temperature problems. A corner like this is absolutely perfect. Make sure under any aquarium that you always have polystyrofoam. Now what this does is take up any irregularities in your stand. No matter how flat you think your stand is, make sure you have the polystyrofoam. Now this filter is run off an overflow principle. So what happens is you've got the filter down the bottom, it blows water up via a pump into the top of the aquarium, which overflows the aquarium via a hole, which returns the water down into the filter again. Now there's various different ways to take the water from the aquarium down into the sump. There are overflow chambers that people make in the corner of the aquarium. I think that the least obvious is just simply a hole in the back of the aquarium. If you want the water level relatively low, you'll put the hole down lower, remembering that if you're pumping a lot of water up, you'll need to make sure that this hole is low enough to accept the amount of water which is outputted by the pump. It really is important to have good filtration on your aquarium and understand how this filtration works. There's heaps of different filtration available, everything from internal box filters, under gravel filters, internal canister filters, hang-on filters, external canister filters, trickle filters, and other types of sump filters. A lot of them are very effective. The most important thing is to have filters which are big enough for the capacity that you need, and to make sure that you understand how to use them properly. You've got to make sure you get a really reliable brand of heater, and before you put the heater into the aquarium, set it on 25 degrees. And remember that the heater is a thermostat, it is not a thermometer. You must have a separate thermometer which is away from the heater to determine the actual temperature of the heater. Most of these heaters can be safely submerged, but it's best to have just the end of it out of the water. It's really important that you're happy with the position of the aquarium, because now we're going to fill it with gravel, decorations and water, and there's no way you'll be able to move it once it's completed. So now it's time to fill up the tank. You'll be surprised how long it takes to fill up a big aquarium like this one. There's all different types of aquarium tubes on the market. There's Biolux tubes, which really enhance the colour of the fish. There's high intensity full spectrum tubes, which really illuminate the whole aquarium. There's actinic tubes that give the blue effect. Now, as far as the cichlids are concerned, they're not worried which lighting you choose. It's really just your preference. So it's worth looking at the different types of tubes available and experiment, particularly on your aquarium, and see which ones you like the look of and which ones bring up the colour of your fish. If your aquarium is about 18 inches high, you will typically use a single fluorescent row over the aquarium. If the aquarium is up to 2 foot high, you would generally use a minimum of 2 rows over the top of the aquarium. It's not at all important how much light you use or what light you use with the cichlids. It's really just to create the effect that you're after. Okay, now you've got your hood on your aquarium and you've finished your initial setup. You've got plenty of aeration, your filtration's going, you've got your heaters on and you're waiting for them to get up to 25 degrees on your thermometer. Next is to check the pH and make sure the pH is adequate for your fish. Things like African cichlids like the pH alkaline, and we've got a little bit of coral sand through the bottom which will make the pH alkaline. Most tap waters tend to be alkaline as well, and these white rocks make the water alkaline. We tend to encourage at least a double dose of water ager to make sure there's no chlorine in the water. So your temperature's right, your pH is right. We've added plenty of water ager. Also, a lot of fish like cichlids like a little bit of salt in the water. Tend to use about 1 teaspoon per 5 litres, and there's plenty of good brands available. Follow the recommendations, add some salt, then you're ready to get your fish.